The next is March of UNESA.
Universitas Negeri Surabaya berperan aktif mencerdaskan bangsa, tangguh bermartabat berbudaya, tulus berbakti laksanakan dakwah, unggul berprestasi, karya inovatif, olahraga universitas Negeri Surabaya, terus berperan aktif mencerdaskan bangsa, bekerja
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the second session, which is the welcome speech from the chairperson of the organizing committee. Therefore, with great respect, we invite Dr. Mufarihul Hasin as the head of Pusbang Desda LPPM UNESA to deliver the welcome speech. Dr. Mufarihul Hasin, the time and stage is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa syukurillah ala nikmatillah, la hawla wa la quwata illa billah. Honorable to Associate Professor Ferry G, School of Business and Law, Edith Cowan University, Australia. Honorable to Dr. Edwin James Pilanflor from Food Technology and Agriculture Department of Suffolk State University, Philippines, and Honorable to Dr. Bambang Sigit Widodo, Vice Rector State University of Surabaya, Indonesia, and all of participants. Good morning and warm greetings. It is a great honor for me as the head of the Central for Rural and Regional Development is Pusbang Desda LPPM Universitas Negeri Surabaya to welcome you the International Conference on Rural and Regional Development, which also mark the third anniversary of Pusbang Desda. This causing is not only a celebration, but also a moment of reflection on our collective commitment to advancing rural and regional development. Over the past 3 years, Pusbang Desda has consistently focused the string collaboration between universities, government, communities, and international partners in address real change faced by rural and regional area. At Pusbang Desda, we believe that academic now leads so you remain with a wall of universities. It is must be translated into policy, program, and practice that create tangible impact for communities. Look, research, capacity building, and community-based, we strive to as the development is participatory, inclusive, and sustainable. I would like to express my appreciation to the leadership of UNESA, LPPM UNESA, and our international partner, and all member of organization committee, their continuous support. My deep sing great also guys to distinct speaker and participant who have contribute their time, experience, and ideas to this conference. I hope this conference will foster meaningful dialogue, strengthen global network in inspiring, innovating action to contribute to relation and empower rural and regional communities. Thank you very much for your participation and support. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mufarihul Hazin, for the welcome speech that has been delivered. The next session is opening remarks. With great respect, we invite the Vice Rector, Professor Dr. Bambang Sigit Widodo, to deliver his remarks and officially open the International Conference on Rural and Regional Development. Dear Professor Dr. Bambang Sigit Widodo, the time and stage is yours.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Good morning and warm greetings. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of the Rector and the entire academic community of Universitas Negeri Surabaya, UNESA, it is a great pleasure for me to welcome you to the International Conference on Rural and Regional Developments held in conjunction with the third anniversary of the Center for Rural and Regional Development, Puspang Desda, right? LPPM UNESA. The theme of this conference, Rural Innovation, Sustainability, and Empowerment, is highly relevant in today's global context. Rural and regional development plays a vital role in achieving inclusive growth, social equity, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Challenges related to food security, environmental sustainability, community empowerment, and youth participation require not only local solutions, but also global perspective and cross-sector collaboration. UNESA is strongly committed to advancing research-based and community-oriented development through education, research, and community engagement. We strive to ensure that academic knowledge creates real impact for society. In this regards, Puspang Desda has been an important driver in connecting academic expertise with the needs of rural and regional communities, both nationally and internationally. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Puspang Desda LPPM UNESA for its dedication over the past 3 years, as well as to the organizing committee for their hard work, although little bits a minor technical issues earlier, maybe prepare better for the future. I also extend my gratitude for our distinguished speakers we have from Australia, Ferry. Pak Ferry is multi-talented because yes, I think I saw the video of Mr. G leading exercise in Bondowoso, and very exciting and cool. Yeah, it was surprising for me. And we have from Philippines, Dr. Edwin. Thank you, nice to see you again. And also from Indonesia, Pak Fari. Thank you for sharing your valuable insight and experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this conference will serve as a meaningful platform for knowledge exchange, academic collaboration, and the development of innovative and sustainable solutions that can be implemented for the benefit of rural and regional communities. With that, and by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby declare the International Conference on Rural Regional Development officially open. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Bambang Sigit Widodo, for your remarks and for officially opening this international conference. The following agenda is the ceremonial of the third anniversary of Pusbang Desda with Indonesian culture tradition called Potong Tumpeng. We invite all the representatives to come to the stage. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now the session is Potong Tumpeng. Okay. For all participants, may have a round of applause for today's. Give a round of applause. Thank you so much for the representative is invited to please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now enter the main session of this conference, which is the presentation session from our outstanding speakers. On this occasion, we are greatly honored to present two international speakers who will share their knowledge and experiences on rural and regional development. Before that, allow me to introduce the moderator for this session, Mr. Ahmad Abdullah Zawawi MED, a lecturer from the Department of Educational Management UNESA. Dear Mr. Ahmad Abdullah Zawawi MED, please come to the stage.
Check, check. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, yeah, we will hold our conference today. Philippine. Actually, yeah, he is from Chapis University. And before we start our discussion, perhaps Dr. Edwin can introduce yourself first for our audience.
Hello, good morning. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad. So I am Edwin James Villaflor from Capiz State University. I am actually a licensed food technologist in the Philippines and currently representing the Food Technology and Agriculture Department of. Um, it's my first time here in Surabaya, and I am very much um, delighted to be invited to be part of an international community engagement. And for this day, I would be very happy to give to you my impressions, recollections, and recommendations. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Before, yeah, actually we have two speakers today, but because the second speaker haven't already, so we can start discussion today. And please, the operator can show the material of the first speaker. Boleh dibantu untuk share screen, Mbak? Okay, for all of the participants from Zoom, you can raise hand if you have any questions because it will be a good agenda. Yeah, yesterday for 3 days we have a special agenda with community in the rural area at the Bondowoso, and Dr. Edwin have an amazing idea. Actually, he tried to change the value of Pupu, yeah. Pupu of good to make to be the valuable products, because we know that some of the rural area actually at the Bondowoso they have a problem about the pupu. Yeah, this is the material from Dr. Edwin. The time is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Now, for today, I would be discussing on my impressions, recollections, and recommendations after having participated into the International Community Development Engagement Program of UNESA, LPPM, at the Bondowoso Regency. So this is my first time here in Surabaya. I've been in Indonesia for about 2 to 3 times already, but this is my first time in Surabaya. So when I arrived via transit in Bali, I was very amazed because, I was greeted by not only art, tradition, culture, but as well as with warmth and hospitality. Indonesia and Philippines have a deep root and shares a very wide range of similarities, but also there is also a big difference in our cultures. In the next slide, you will see that there would be two pictures and there's a blank in between. This is where, for me, I am entering a new arena, a new experience, and something that would open my eyes. And also with me would be something that I'll be bringing in into this new world. In the next slide, as I've said, I was greeted by warmth, hospitality, as well as things that would have a big impact on how I see Indonesia before, now, and in the future. Um, Philippines and Indonesia share similar culture because we do have also our customs and traditions rooted in the Muslim belief, as well as we have similarities in culinary and food. And when I arrived here, I was not just embraced by the sound, by the smell, by the taste, but of course, all the people that has welcomed me here in Surabaya, especially in Unesa, had given me the best of welcome that a person, a tourist could receive. So my impression when we started the program or when we started the community engagement in Bondowoso was truly remarkable. We were welcomed as esteemed guests of the local government there, as well as we have been attended to as part of a family, which is for me is a very heartwarming experience because we are not just there to have an activity, but we were welcomed there as by a community that is treating everyone with respect, with warmth and hospitality, and as part of the family. So in the next slide that I'll be presenting to you, this is actually I think it's a 7-minute um, video which I captured during the welcome that we had. And this is actually an amazing cultural experience for me. And this is called, the Molong Copy Dance, which actually gives me or has given an impression to me that it depicts the natural flow of life in Bondowoso, which circulates into the community, how simple, traditional, and customs are still alive in this community and is very much treasured by everyone. If we could play the video, please. Yes, please click the Molong Copy Dance link. Okay. All right. So while the video is being prepared, this dance is actually a traditional dance that depicts the wisdom of and tradition, where simple life starts from, of course, um, with picking the best seeds to be planted, and then when the coffee tree has sprouted and started its fruiting season, utmost care is given so that the harvest will be bountiful. And when the harvest season arrives, everyone benefits. And I think this is the essence of having a strong community wherein everyone benefits with contribution from each and every part of the community. Also, we as someone that is bringing in something into the table is also giving a piece that would enrich the life of people in this community. It's something like I could translate into when we apply fertilizer to our coffee tree, this helps it become stronger. This helps it to fruit better, to produce a better harvest because of the beans that it will be producing would be of premium quality. Similarly, if we inject um, good knowledge, technology, and practices into our rural communities, I believe that we will be able to help them grow and be ready for the global community and prepare them for the future. Okay. I think the video is ready. Let's watch and see. And with that, the dance actually prove or showcases that the community development also faces a real challenge. Um, in developing the community, several blocks are there, and we as contributors to the community development should see and address the following. If the slide could be shown, there are several blocks that was able to identify during the visit to this regency. So first off is on the block for education. So of course, with the rising demand for higher and premium education, unfortunately, some of the villages or communities that are, of course, far from the urban cities, for example, have the challenge of getting this premium education. And this is not isolated here in Indonesia, but also present, especially on countries similar to the Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand, and other let's say third world countries that is still struggling to make the education system in their own countries standard. Next is the technology block. Uh, as we know, there are remote areas that the technology still could not reach. Some have difficulty in obtaining electricity, clean water, facilities for communication, and of course, the basic technology for improving the community is still a challenge. Next is that there's still a block for customs and traditions. There are some customs and traditions that limits the potential and capabilities of the members of its community. Next block would be the access to market. There are products, services, and combination of products and services that that is present in the community but will not be able to reach bigger markets or the global market because they have no access to it. Currently, if everyone here has an experience, almost all products are reachable through social media. And with this, unfortunately, our villages that has, of course, challenge in technology is not able to market their products in this digital platform. Therefore, the accessibility to these products from the community is limited. Tourists may be able to take part of the delicacies, experience the services that is unique to the area, and observe the customs and traditions when they visit. But after that, there's no way for this isolated communities or challenged communities if they have technology. Therefore, it is one of our main concerns is to help widen the access of our communities to this digital platform to infuse additional source of livelihood. Second layer of challenge for community development is location. We have communities that are, hard to access by road, by sea, by air. And because of this geographical location difficulty or challenge, the development of the community is slow. And this is also linked to the available infrastructure. My experience of going to the community that where we have this engagement is actually like a roller coaster ride. I was able to, experience having traveling in a road that is, I could say, a challenge for two vehicles to pass side by side. Therefore, infrastructure and location is really a big challenge, not only for those that would like to develop the community, but for the government as well as for its people in general. And because of this, also the supply chain, which is also associated to to access to market, is also affected, or also a big block, because there are products that are fresh produce that could not be travel or could not be sent to a wider market because of its sensitivity, especially if you will have to travel for a long time, and the quality of the product degrades over time. So these blocks would now affect the development of the community, the rate of how the community develops, the quality of the development of the community, and of course, basically the overall um, quality of life in the development of the community. Now, how do we address this? Um, in the next slide, there are circular um, roles for each and everyone that is part of the community development. In the next slide, you will be able to see, next slide, sir, please, that there would be, go back, there would be three parts. We have the local community, we have the government, and the academe. So in developing the community, it's not just a one-man show. It takes a team to build this development, or as we say, it takes a family to build a community. So for the local community is the receptors of our efforts in development of technology, improvement of infrastructure, um, knowledge transfers, as well as skills enhancement. And they are also the feedback generators. We believe maybe that our technology is the best there is, but when we apply it into the real world, where the local community is the receptor of your technology, we may be able to see the flaws and the challenges of what we are trying to implement. And because of this feedback, it now goes to the government, where the government is the one that is facilitating the distribution of technology, the distribution of funds for improvement, the facilitation of infrastructure development for the local community. And also, they are the ones, or the local government is also the one that is monitoring, or would be the one that would put the monitoring mechanisms for what we are trying to implement in the local community. The local government would be the police to guard our local communities to be from being abused, as well as the local government is also the same mechanism that would prevent from the local community being abused by those that have nefarious ideas. We as as the academy, we as part of the group that formulates standards as well as knowledge and technology, has this ultimate goal of sharing it to the local community. We would like to help the local community develop with minimal impact to their lifestyles, but with maximum impact on improvement. So we need to strike a balance between these three roles, which is the local community, the government, and the academe, to bring out the best development factors that could affect the development of the local community. In the next slide, next slide, please. We have, or I have identified some of the things that we could be considering in the future. So number one is branding. What does Bondowoso mean? How is Bondowoso different from any other regencies or locations or tourist spots here in Indonesia, in the Southeast Asia region, or even the world? So we need to find something that would be readily identifiable to this area. Yes, here locally, it is well known for the Blue Fire region. However, unless you search it in the internet, not many tourists is very much aware of this. Bondowoso or the Aegean community is actually registered in the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but not as popular as any other cultural sites there is in the world. Now, I suggest, or I would like you to think about this. Maybe in that community where they grow coffee and they also have a livelihood of farming goats, they could they could have a festival called Blue Fire Coffee, wherein they are championing their local produce, the local coffee that they grow. So there might be a small festival similar to the Veal Festival and also some European festivals where farmers gather and bring the best produce that they have. And in this way, there is now a sense of unity and there is now a sense of branding. Secondly, we need to make sure that we have a strong foundation for our local community members. We need to make sure that since they are identified as a tourist spot, our community members are also well trained in tourism and hospitality. It's not easy to just receive guests, especially that there is still a language barrier. Basically, as a tourist, you would like to have ease and convenience in transactions. But if the locals are not able to facilitate this kind of experience, tourists will not recommend the place. Therefore, our locals should be able to give the experience that tourists are looking for. Second, we need to make sure that our locals educate the tourists that are coming in. I visited the Bondowoso crater. Is that it? Yeah. And unfortunately, as a tourist and as an environmentalist, I am actually a little bit disappointed because I saw a plastic bottle which was discarded in that very beautiful place where there is already actually a few meters away there are already trash bins. So if this kind of practice becomes rampant, then we will be destroying what is beautiful about Bondowoso. So we need to make sure that we are also protecting what is making Bondowoso great, which is the environment. And with this, it also covers make sure that the locals are licensed and are professional in terms of providing tours, in guiding tourists, because if they are licensed and they are professional, that level of service that they provide would greatly impact the experience the tourists will have. For example, if the fees are standard in visiting Aegean's Blue Fire, there would be no haggling between this group of tourists and to that group of tourists, therefore minimizing the comparison in service. It also cuts down the transaction time and it maximizes the experience the tourists will have. If this is professionally done, then all of the players in that arena would benefit The tourists will enjoy the maximum satisfaction of the experience. The businesses will thrive because it would be fair competition, and the locals will have a steady income because they have and they are practicing professional service. Lastly is that the improvement of transportation routes as well as the improvement of human structure. So when we say human structure, we need to know who's responsible for this service, what are the services they are offering, how much are the services being offered, and as a tourist, I would like to know if I get hurt, where do I go? How to contact the emergency people if I get hurt during the time that I spend in Bondowoso. Convenience plays a big part if you are going for a tourism inclined business. And I think these suggestions for consideration would be a big help for making Bondowoso known as the Dragon Town or the Dragon Regency in the region. And I think here are the major takeaways for me as well as for the community that I have spent for a few days there. First takeaway is that on the next slide is that we are opening or we are opening the community for a successful knowledge transfer. So when I came to Bondowoso in Ijen region, I came there with simple, practical knowledge of utilizing products that are related to their main livelihood, which is goat farming. Currently, the practice is linear. They raise the goats, they make them fat, they kill the goat, and they make money. Now, with the introduction of a circular economy, they are now able to identify what are the other products that they could get from the goat. They could get milk. They could use milk for cheese. They could use the manure for fertilizer. They could use the manure for fire briquettes. They could use the manure to generate biogas. These are some options which could actually help develop the community and give them another source of livelihood. We have initiated a simple idea that sparked interest in the local community to move for a transition. We need to make sure that the transition from a linear economy to the circular economy is not drastic. Because if we do a drastic change in the current situation, there might be a very, very big negative impact into the community. There would be rejection. There would be losses. Therefore, we need to make sure that when we initiate change, this change is acceptable and the impact is bearable. Next slide is that we are opening the local community to international influence. We are working with the sustainable global sustainable development goals of the UN. And one of this is that we need to make sure, or we want to make sure that our communities develop and there would be zero poverty. And we are ultimately moving forward for sustainable and green cities. So if we could stick to the standards that is globally accepted, our communities would steadily grow and develop. And for me, lastly, is that I was able to be immersed in a local culture through exposure to the local food, to the local practices, as well as the customs that are there. This is actually a big blunder for me. So after the workshop, I saw a fruit tree. And I said, yeah, this fruit tree is good. And this could be turned into a product, which is wine. And unfortunately, the community does not or do not take alcohol. So with that, even though there is available knowledge, but if it is not applicable and could not be used, then that knowledge should not be enforced into the community. But by immersing yourself in the local food practices and customs, you will be able to understand what are those knowledge that could be accepted and could be developed, and what knowledge are not are not acceptable. Though it might be okay to a different location, but we need to be sensitive to what is needed by this specific community. And with that, this experience for me is not only eye-opening, it's not only the community that was helped, but also in this experience, me as an individual also gained something life-changing. So thank you very much for your time, and that would be all for me today. Thank you.
Check, check. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Edwin, for the experience and for the presentation about Ijen Geopark at the Bondowoso. Okay, because we have a limitation of time, so if you have any question, please wait until the second speaker uh, present the presentations. And today we have the second speaker. The name is Professor Ferry J from Australia, Edith Cowan University. For Professor, time is yours.
Okay, good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And thank you once again to invite me as the second speaker for today's event. And I'm going to talk about the empowering Indonesian villages, efficiency, economy, and social transformation. Now, my name is Perry G. I'm currently based in Western Australia. So it's amazing to visit East Java at UNISA, and I'm so happy to be here. And thank you once again, for having me today. All right, so I'm coming from Edith Cowan University. That's my university, Edith Cowan University from Western Australia. All right, so about myself, so you can see my profile. So my research area more in the supply chain and logistics management. Currently my role as the chair of the students committee and also the secretary of the Chartered Institute Logistics and Transport in Western Australia committee and the fellow of the Charter Institute of Logistics Transport, as well as the Supply Chain and Logistics Association in WA, Western Australia Committee. So that's about me. I don't want to talk too much about my publications, my research. I think it's a boring stuff for all of you, but this is just my profile in terms of my publications, my research output. Now, the next slide, this is about my project. So my project, some of my project related to the rural and regional development in Western Australia. I'm been doing a few projects about rural and regional development, dealing with the Margaret River. So there will be a couple of video presentations about the rural and regional developments from Australia, perhaps Indonesia, what Indonesia can learn from the Australia Rural and Regional Development. All right. Next slide. Now, this is about the according to the literature, the challenges, the villages, not necessarily happening in Indonesia, but also maybe in Australia or maybe around the world. And we talk about the challenges, what's happening in villages, regional or rural sectors. First, of course, limited infrastructure. So a lot of research actually mentioned that limited infrastructures happening, in the rural sector, right? Or regional development, such as in Western Australia. So Western Australia, actually, we have several locations in the regional, like Boyac Brook in the southwest, Margaret River. So you can have a look the videos presentation about that. Now, the limited infrastructure includes the roads, electricities, the internet connection. So one of the example in Australia, we have the limited connection for a certain villages and a certain regions in Western Australia. For example, in Boyac Brook or Dornick. Can you hear me? Yeah. Last year's I had opportunity to visit Boyac Brook, Donnybrook, which is located in Western Australia. It's about like 5 hours drive from my university. So this region doesn't have any internet connections, a lot of problem in terms of the road, you know, and in that region, so many kangaroos jumping around on the streets. So the car suddenly cannot see the car can hit the kangaroos, right? And because the road itself is not well, you know, connected and not appropriate for the car to drive in that region. So, and then sometimes when I drive using the university vehicle, and there's so many dust because the road is not established well, the infrastructure. And the second about the low agriculture productivity. That's one of the key challenge. The restricted access to markets and finance, right? So every regional development might have problem in terms of the market access, the finance or funding model, And the fourth one is the social gaps in education and healthcare. So a lot of research to be done in this area in terms of healthcare and education. In the social gaps is a good research in that particular domain, particularly in Indonesia, I believe, and also some other developing countries. And dependence on middlemen for trade, that's one particular issues in terms of maybe in Indonesia, I believe, for the trade. I think what we call in Bahasa, so many tengkulak, right? Tengkulak, isn't it? So the middleman for trade. So when you sell coffee, cabbage, tomatoes, a lot of middlemen happening. And they're trying to sometimes play the games. That's one of the key challenge, I believe, yeah. Now, the next slide. So have a look. They want a video presentation. So I think the first video link, I think the operator can help me. The link, yeah, the first one. This is the region when I've been doing a project, right? So hopefully Indonesia can take the lesson from that video. Just show that video if you don't mind, please. Yeah. And then make sure the audio, we can share the audio. I think the second one, Pak, not this one. Yeah. Yang kedua, second one, please. Yeah. That one is a testimony for the lady about women empowerment. But the second one actually is interesting about the region. Yeah. It's a very good video for this. You can have a look. I think that link I sent to the WhatsApp. Yeah, it's okay. Keep continue. Don't worry. Yeah, I have another video for that. Yeah, that one then. Okay. So if you look at this, is Australia, Western Australia, now and then, you can see um, this is the sector is very far away from the city, from the urban. You can see the infrastructure when you look at this is the location what we call Boya Brook. I think what we pronounce Boya Brook. That's the name of that location. Um, and sorry about the internet. Yeah. So Boya Brook is the name of location. Is about 5 hours drive from the north. This is the road. Yeah. Okay, so if you look at this, the Boya Brook is the population small, and you know in Australia we have Aboriginal and Indigenous surrounding in this region. So if you look at this, is a caravan. The regional, the rurals provides the communities and the tourists actually to stay, like the homestay. You know, in Australia, it's a very popular. They have a caravan park. So basically, you can stay in, live in the car with the caravan, and you park somewhere in that region, and then you can see in terms of the Yulin crossing. This is Yulin crossing is a river in Boyac Brook. So Boyac Brook is certain names in Australia. They use the Aboriginal or indigenous language, right? It's the Aboriginal indigenous land. Now, if you look at the video is useful for you to have a look around. So you can see this big land. This is, you can see the what they call Kurija Pool. Kurija Pool is slightly what we call in Indonesia is like forest, slightly forest. It's dried in the summer, and then this is the caravan, and people mostly, you know, stay and live there. And it's Thorn Bridge in Boyac Brook. It's for communities and tourists to have the picnic area in that that the river area. So it's all the natural, because from the plant, the river, the water, and all the forestry and the barbecue setting, etc. Okay, and this is the Jais Bridge. It's mostly for the camping, for the campfire. For this, a lot of the communities, especially for the youth, they organize the campfire surrounding in this region, right? And yeah, and this one is what they call Transport Reserve. It's a very popular for Asia. They like going to this area. So thank you. So we can just go to the slide again. I might have another video about Margaret River. So Margaret River, if you travel to Western Australia, yeah, Paris. So that's the Margaret River produce so many wineries, you know, grapes wineries. Because if you really want to, I think in Melbourne and Victoria is a popular. I think Papa also from Victoria, graduated from RMIT, is the Mornington Peninsula. Yeah, Mornington Peninsula, Paris. Yeah, there's so many the wineries there. Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, and also Margaret River in Western Australia. Yeah. So the strategy for improvement, we talked before about the challenges. I think my research now focus more efficiency, economy, social, because everybody knows sustainability, right? Sustainability is triple bottom line, which is we have economic, social, then environmental impact, right? Now, the previous presenter also mentioned about that. I don't want to talk more about the social and also economy aspect, but this is according to my literature review in my research. So I don't want to talk much about the academic word, but basically the efficiency is adopt appropriate technology in the digitalizations in the villages, what we call e-villages services, economy, strengthening cooperative support, micro, small, medium enterprises. Why we need to support micro or family businesses? Because, you know, people live in the region. People live in the rural area. We need to support the micro and small businesses. Okay, to ensure they're all growing and expand the market access and social, how we improve the education. And we have UNESA here, right? We went to Bondowoso. So a previous presenter mentioned about Bondowoso. So one of the good example to improve upskill training, provide training, improve the education. So that's why we have UNESA. UNESA is a great, good example for this kind of the project to support community. So thank you, Pak Fari, as the boss or head of center, right? We need this kind of center because without this, how we improve there, right? And healthcare, education, training, And one thing is empowerment. So I really like what the statement of the Menko coordinating minister, right? One of the empowerment, right? It's so powerful word. Empowerment encourage community participation, the local leadership and grassroots initiatives. So that's one particular good research. Next slide, please. Now the impact. So impact, of course, I think presenter mentioned about zero poverty, the increased household income in villages, how we mitigate to reduce the poverty, reduce poverty and unemployment. We really need to do something for them. Stronger local economic independence and villages as hub of innovation and sustainability. Next slide. So, lesson from Australia rural development. Okay. This statement I provide very good recommendation. Some of my paper published in good paper in the Journal of Regional Development. One particular thing is a strong collaboration, strong cooperative model. The farmer group manage marketing, storage, and logistics together. This is about supply chain. And that's why I provided good training for them about supply chain. They know the product from farm to plate. Once they know this foundation, the strong cooperative model, and that's easy, and you can improve productivity, improve effectiveness of the supply chain for the rural community. And second, of course, we need to tell the government, we need to inform the government, we need to communicate with the government. Look, we got problem. Can you help us? Right? Same thing in Australia. And university need to tell the government what's the problem for the indigenous community, for the rural community. So the government support grants. If the community cannot get access to grants, so they can ask UNESA, isn't it? To get a grant, to help them. So otherwise, who's doing that? Right? UNESA, institution provider. And renewable energy, rural infrastructure. Now, rural infrastructure is not easy job, right? It's a long-term strategy because infrastructure. It's not like a day or a month particular project. Rural infrastructure is definitely is a longer term. Now, education training hub, I mentioned before, same, my university, EDICO, a really strong focus on the community engagement, right? Community engagement, including rural extension services, bringing knowledge directly to farmers. I think the previous presenter mentioned about the knowledge transfer, right? That's one of key elements of that. Digital connectivity, everybody loves technology. Investment in internet access, in particular internet access, enable e-commerce, e-supply chain, and remote learning. Remote learning, because if you don't have internet connection, how do we promote online learning for communities in Bondowoso or maybe in Jepara in Jawa Tengah, yeah, or maybe in Wonosobo. I went there to Wonosobo with my university there with Undip. Okay, Boyolali. Boyolali is just drive there. I see, so many peternak sapi, sapi perah. Yeah, to get the fresh milk. The way they do, they're selling fresh milk door to door, with the bottle, isn't it? Boyolali is a beautiful. I love soto. Soto, they're so beautiful. That you mentioned about the food. Soto segar. Now, soto in Indonesia, I love that. Different kind of soto with soto Surabaya, soto Boyolali, soto Semarang. No, soto Lamongan, exactly. But the end of the day, I love soto. But we can't get any soto in Australia. No soto. Unless you buy the ingredient, right? Ingredient in hypermart and you put hot water, then cook with chicken. And jadilah soto. All right. Okay. Now, too much talking about the food. Now, the next slide, we talk about after lesson, how, this is very important, how Indonesia can apply this lesson. Now, I give 4 things for all of us we need to understand how we strengthen cooperative. we need to empower farmers. That's why we have Menko, yeah, pemberdayaan, isn't it? So empower farmers to negotiate better prices and share resources that strengthen cooperation. And the second thing is invest in infrastructure. Invest infrastructure is something you need to look at. Is there a problem with the roads? Probably the cold storage, irrigation. Now, in Australia, we still have problem also with the road infrastructure, especially in the northern corridor of the Western Australia. Now, the reason the problem with the northern corridor of Western Australia, because so many heavy vehicles, so many commercial truck, the long truck, they use that road and the road become damaged because it's so heavy. And then you need to share with the community the vehicles, right? And then there's a we don't have so much motorcycle there, unfortunately. But the thing is, the long vehicle and the trucks is really takes so much space, yeah. So then that road is of both directions. I think the same thing we in the Bondowoso when we drive there. So many truck, you know, and you cannot pass it through because of that, you know, and the road is too small and etc. Okay, now the village training center. That's why we have head of center here. Thank you so much, Pak Pari. You are great leader, the UNISA here. I think Bondo also should thank you, UNISA, right? It's very good. Who's doing that? Who else, yeah, doing this? Only UNISA, yeah? And LPPM here, head of center, what we call rural and regional, yeah? That's very important. Without training centers, we cannot do anything. How we educate them, how they learn something. Oh, we have very good school of education here at UNESA. We have very good teachers, right? We produce good teachers, we produce good academic scholars. And one thing is, don't forget, once we do that, the community, the development, we also can do research, right? We can do research. And you also can take another benefit for us as academia, and we work together with the communities, with the rurals, the regional, with the local governments there, how we work together to produce a good research project. Now, the next slide. I really like the idea. Next slide, slide berikutnya. So, before going this, can you go to the next video? I think about Margaret River, the wineries, farmers. Okay, and then we are able to take any questions afterward. Yeah, Pak Fahmi? There's one more video. I think it's about 2 minutes video then. If not, you can connect with the women empowerment. It's okay with the first one. Yeah. Okay, so this video about the women empowerment, one of the key element for Australia. You know, you can listen to her. Wonderful, thank you. So Hannah actually she's one of the Australia of the awards in 2019. So I know her very well. So Hannah actually did great job in terms of the women, young women empowerment, because what she did in Bahasa you can see dia sampai drive ya menyetir berapa kilometer Dari itu 30,000 kilometers, such a having a patient women to talk to all the young girls. Bagaimana kira-kira masa depan mereka? Yeah? It's very important. Nobody want to talk to them because people live in the regional, rural, right? Small communities. Nobody want to talk to them. I remember when I went to Bondowoso, I remember saya bisa dangdut dengan mereka. Yeah? How we engage with them. The farmers. Because I really love dancing. It's okay. And I will not only transfer my knowledge, I also transfer and make sure they engage, make sure they have a good inspiration and motivation and a good for them to grow, for them to move forward. Right? That's very important. So anyway, so thank you once again for listening. So just want to give a summary what we look at my presentation. My presentation, so pretty much we look at what the challenges and what lessons can take, can learn from the Australia, as well as what particular initiative and strategies looking at by social, economy, efficiency, and transformation. Okay, so just 4 elements. This is very important. We need to look at 4 pillars. The economic, social, of course, part of the triple bottom line, which is what we call sustainability development goals, right? Because it covers everything with the poverty, right, etc. And just remember, do not forget about transformation for them, right? Transformation, one of the key elements, because they really need to do, we need to work something for them, transformation. And cover everything, we look at the efficiency, okay? We know the efficiency, okay? So once again, thank you for having me today. I'm going back to Australia tomorrow. So again, thank you so much for UNESA. Thank you for LP2M, LPPM, not LP2M, LPPM. And then head of the center, and as well as what we call here, Pusbanks Desda. Oh, it's interesting. Pusbanks Desda. No, bank is English, right? In Bahasa Pusbanks Desda. What we call Center for Rural and Regional Development. It's so amazing. Okay, so thank you and all the best, and good luck for and all the best for your future, for your career. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, yeah, give applause for our speakers. Okay, there is the conclusion about materials from the second speakers, actually about empowering. He emphasized the meaning of the empowering. So there are lots of benefit that if we make empowering program actually at the rural area. Okay, guys, if you have any questions for the speaker 1 or the speaker 2, you can raise your hand and then you can open mic after that. Okay, there is one person that wanna ask. Okay, you can open mic. Mr. Sultan. Okay, if you have any question, you can raise hand. Only one. Or anyone from this room wanna give the question, it's okay.
Hello. While waiting for the question, actually, Ahmad, with actually the thrust of LPPM, which is local roots global impact, if I'm not,
The topic.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Actually, that is the core of each, I think, each global community engagement, right? We cultivate the local roots, but we aim for a global impact. We wanted to have Bondowoso a chance to be recognized internationally. But before they could be recognized as a community internationally, we need to make sure that they are ready. Similarly, when you are cultivating a plant, if the plant is not healthy, if the roots are weak, we will be able to bear fruit, correct? So similarly, that's how it is when we are going to develop a community. We need to make sure that we take care of the local practices, customs, traditions. We preserve them, we enrich them, and then we empower the local participants, the local components with technology, education, knowledge, and then we will be able to get the fruits, which is low global recognition, um, benefit to the community by having extra or additional livelihood source, steady income, better facilities, infrastructure, and of course, human development. So those are the things that, what we are aiming for: local roots, a global impact.
Take. Okay. Dr. Edwin said about the previous theme of our programs. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Sultan, you can open your mic now and give question. Mr. Sultan, are you ready? Okay. If you cannot open your mic, you can give the question at the chat box, and we will try to.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
sorry. I
okay.
think there are some kind like the technical issues here, but now I can unmute now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you to UNESA. Thank you again to all the honorable speakers. Please introduce, my name is Muhammad Sultan Aminuddin. I work for the Cooperative and Small and Medium Enterprises Office of East Java. I work as a trainer, and I also used to provide like people development programs such as specifically on cooperative and businesses and small and medium enterprises. And one of our fellows is there, Dr. Fari. We met again. Thank you very much for sharing the link to join this very honorable forums. And I would like to say that thank you for Dr. Fari for as our fellows to providing the some kind like lectures in our Sijawara platforms. It's been so long, Dr. Fari. Sijawara is a digital learning system that we had been developed to learn the basic of cooperative and small businesses. And I'm currently involved in developing the capacity of the Red and White Village cooperative administrators. It's kind of like an ambitious national program for our central government. As a trainer in East Java alone, we nearly reached 9,400 cooperative forms, and we will possibly provide like cold storage and the kind like Prof. Ferry said before, how to maintain the supply chain, especially for the field products, and also clinics and SME stores. There are also another participants here. I think there are another person from KDMP Mojokerto, I think, and also Batu. Maybe they also join these forums. And my question is about your view about Dr. Edwin from Philippines and Professor Ferry from West Australia about this initiative about the Red and White Village Cooperative in Indonesia. How about your views about this initiative? And is there any kind like best practices in your countries with maybe similar ideas? And what do you think about the key success factors that regional development initiative can be reach their goals, and how we could like distribute the central governments to provincial government and village levels amidst the current era of budget efficiency, especially, and global instability. And I also have some kind of like interest to do some kind of like research to continue these studies about these topics, and hopefully there is some kind of like recommendation from you all about the supervisors to be consulted about. Thank you very much. I think that's it from me.
Once again for the questions.
Oh yeah.
Actually, this has become of your research study. So if you want to please list that as your research objective. So it's gonna be I mentioned about the comprehensive answers. Now I'm doing a lot of research in to promote the micro, small, medium enterprises. Well, in general, so we just need to focus more regional and the villages, a rural area. So that's something is a family, micro, small, medium enterprises. So I just want to see my paper. What is the tactical and implementation to be implemented to promote the micro, small, medium enterprises in the sector. Now, I can share about from my Australia perspective. For example, when I did my PhD, my PhD topic is about beef supply chain. So you can see beef supply chain, so many small farmers, the medium, slaughterhouses surrounding in New South Wales, Queensland, and Victoria. Now, in order how to improve their supply chain, right? I produced 4 articles for that. But thank you. My project is supply chain performance by looking at the efficiency. Of course, when we look at efficiency, we want to reduce costs, increase sales revenue. When we look at that model, sales revenue is higher. If you have cost is minimization, then we can have a profit. In that case, we can improve supply chain performance efficiency. So 2 as a key success factor, what we call KSF. First thing is a cost minimization. Okay. Second is to maximize sales revenue. In order to maximize this revenue, you have to do a lot of marketing. Of course, right? Marketing approach, marketing strategy. We do have so many good professors marketing at UNISA. Okay. You can have a look at my papers for that. I'm more than happy to share with you after this, and then you can have a look reading that in my paper in English to publish a very good journal. Now, the second key success factor you're looking at is supply chain responsiveness, right? To strengthen the micro, small, medium enterprises for Indonesia villages. Why we need to do responsiveness? Because we are in the uncertain world, right? We live in uncertain world. We live in any kind of risk and uncertainty situations, and we need to be more agile. And we need to respond very quickly. Any changes, any things happen. So micro, small, medium enterprise need to be more quick response. Any changes. Changes could be environment, changes in terms of the policy, changes maybe because the price, or changes because the consumer customer demand changes, and you really need to have a quick response. In academic world, we can say supply chain agility, right? Number 3, Of course, we need to look at the quality dimension, supply chain, performance, quality dimension. So quality, there are two: quality of the product you sell and the quality of services. Micro, any businesses, how you improve the quality of product. Yes, it's very important. And second quality dimension, you look at quality of service. You sell the product to the consumers. How do you ensure you are very good in terms of the quality of service? Okay, so I just giving you the higher level so you can have a look. Each case study in my paper. And the last, you can promote the supply chain performance in terms of the flexibility. Flexibility meaning that how we ensure the micro, small, medium enterprises. I'm sure every business want to deal with how you cope with the environment changes, climate changes. Now, sustainable development goal initiate that zero emission, isn't it? Net zero, sorry, in 2050. Yeah. So look, I said to the United Nations, so you give a lot of pressure now to this world. It's impossible 2050, I can tell you. That's my opinion, to get the net zero. Are we ready? How many percentage? It's just only multinational corporation can promote this. What happened with the micro, small, medium enterprises? If you look at the proportion between the large multinational corporation with the micro, small, medium enterprises, it's a big jump. It's not like, 50-50. Look, just tell me how many percentage of multinational corporations, the large companies, yeah? So the large company, yeah, no problem with the net zero, 2050. Look, this is 2026. So 24 years ago, are we ready for the net zero according to the United Nations organization? So that is the flexibility. I'm talking about the uncertainty, risk factors, and we are more ensure it's more flexible. How we manage the supply chain, how we manage the business, how we handle the customer complaint, how we dealing with the government. When the government actually, look, you really need to have a good conversations a lot actually with the institution provider. Tell us what's your problem and tell us how we can help you, and more engaged, I believe, actually. And again, your attitude, rural regional, you really need to open the door, not closing the doors. The only problem with closing the doors is, look, you're just shutting into any opportunity. Yeah? Open the door, opportunities there, get them. If you don't know how to get them, you are not alone. There's a song, isn't it? You are not alone. Of course, we have UNESA. Of course, we have Ferry G. We have Edwin here from Philippines. Yeah? So amazing. We have 7 countries. So Fari, I can give you more people if you want, more countries. Don't worry. My network, I can tell you, I have connection more than 29 countries. Yeah? I can give you the list if you want. 29 countries.
Oh,
Yeah.
if I could add,
Yeah.
Dr. Ferry. Okay, no problem. So another thing that you could also check if it is workable with the local communities is that if forming a cooperative is acceptable and could be as a viable option so that you could gather the resources as well as make it a more impactful tool for the community. For example, when I had the program or when I had the workshop in Egen, there are several goat farmers available or doing the business there. Unfortunately, they have to shoulder the cost of vaccination. Imagine if one farmer is only raising 10 goats versus another farmer that is raising 50, another one raising 100. If the cost of the vaccination is very high and each farmer will pay for that, divided by the number of goats that they are raising, the one that raises very few would have or will incur a higher cost compared to the ones that have many goats being raised. But if they come together as a group, then they could share the cost of that vaccine, and it would actually benefit all of them because they would be sharing the cost in a uniform amount. Also, if a cooperation or a cooperative is to be recognized as a legal entity by the local government, for example, it would be easier for them to ask for assistance from the government, to ask for technical expertise from corporations, from businesses, or even from the academe. So these practices is actually being done by countries like from the Philippines. There are cooperatives for farmers, for animal raisers. And also, I think it is being practiced in Thailand and in Vietnam. Now, as for you, sir, if you would like to do a research on the acceptability of cooperative as a tool for local farmers and animal raisers, that would be a good thing to look into, because as of this time, I think not many communities are aware that they could come together, create a cooperative, and be recognized as a, let's say, as a force for change. Because if you would be asking the government for help and you would come individually, it would be, let's say, it would be a additional task for them if they would process 50 requests. But if you come as a cooperative, one single entity, one application, but the benefactors of that would be several people or several individuals, then that would be more efficient. Yeah, so we are working on efficiency as well as uniformity in benefits and services. That's all I could have.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer from the two speakers. Actually, yeah, I know that there are lots of questions, but because there is the limitation of the time, so we cannot give a chance for giving the question. But if you have any question about anything, actually, especially about the rural area development, you can ask the speakers. Is it okay if we share your email? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We will send the email. Please, for the host, send the email of Dr. Edwin and also Prof. Ferry at the chat box. If everyone have any questions for them, you can directly send the message for them. Okay. This is the last agenda of our discussion in the International Conference on Rural Area and Regional Development. Thank you so much for joining our event. Thank you so much for our honorable speakers. Yeah, lastly, I will. Is there any other agenda? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. And the time is yours, moderator. No, Master of Ceremony. But perhaps because Prof. Ferry have another agenda, he will take a picture. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad Abdul Zawi, as the moderator, for leading this session very well. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of today's agenda of International Conference on Rural and Regional Development. Because we close this event, here we have some important announcement that we will give the certificate from LPPM UNESA to our amazing speakers today. The first certificate will be given by Mr. Mufarihul Hazin to Mr. Asok Professor Ferici. Please come to the stage. And for the documentations crew, and for the second certificate, will be given by Dr. Mufarihul Hazin to Dr. Edwin James Villaflor from the Philippines. Please come to the stage. Okay, thank you so much. And I have some important announcement for all the participants. A-certificates will be sent via email within 3 until 5 working days. Presentation materials can be downloaded via the website at pusbangdesdaunesa.ac.id, and even documentation will be uploaded on the drive. May the knowledge and insight we have gained today contribute meaningfully to rural and regional development toward a more prosperous and sustainable society. Happy third anniversary to Pusbang Desda. Let us conclude this event by reciting Hamdalah together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, selanjutnya adalah sesi foto bersama kepada Bapak Ibu Panitia yang hadir dan juga para peserta secara online. Kami akan lakukan sesi foto bersama. Silakan boleh berkumpul di stage. Untuk seluruh partisipan kami persilakan untuk menggunakan virtual background dan menyalakan kamera. Terima kasih. Dan untuk tim dokumentasi yang bertugas, kami yang pertama pose formal terlebih dahulu. Unesa, satu langkah di depan. Selanjutnya pose Pak Rektor. Oke, terakhir semangat. Oke, baik, terima kasih. Terima kasih juga kami haturkan kepada seluruh peserta dan juga panitia yang sudah hadir secara online maupun offline. Sekian saya tutup perjumpaan kita pada event kali ini. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.